Good afternoon, Mayor.
Good afternoon.
We've known each other for a while and that kind of thing. One of the things that I always kind of say is that I wish that people could hear you where it wasn't a press conference, like some of the conversations that we have. So I'm hopeful that this conversation could be that. One of the first questions when I talk to people, and they always ask me, how's the mayor holding up? This is unprecedented times right now. How are you holding up? How's the family?
You know what? We're doing fine.
Okay.
So I say it with qualification because I know few people who have come through this experience and are here and present that are going to say, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Some are, but I'll say we're doing fine. It's been a very hard, long period. It's been hard for me as mayor. It's been hard for the city and our residents. But also, I'm also a wife, a mom, a daughter, and so managing all of that. And I've got an elderly mother who's had some challenges through this, but we're doing fine. I feel like because it's summer and because it's light, which just totally changes my mood, I feel like for the first time in 15 plus months, I have the luxury of being able to think beyond the immediate crisis.
Yeah.
And that has definitely opened up, I think, a range of possibilities for me. The thing I like most about this job is being able to think and meet with people and hear about their ideas and creative things, and then think about how we can, as the city government, be a convener and a promoter, if you will, of great ideas that are happening out there and the innovation in our city. So I feel like I've gotten the space to get back to that work, and it's great and it's energizing.
Good. So we're here really to kind of talk about ETOD. As you know, Elevated Chicago has been working. It's a part of Spark National, nationwide initiative, but here in Chicago, our initiative is Elevated Chicago, and we've been working hand in hand with your administration on ETOD. So recently, Chicago Plan Commission approved the ETOD policy that seeks to leverage existing City Hall initiatives to strengthen affordable housing commitments and standardize community engagement across departments and other sectors. This is big news for us, the work that we've been doing.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And I'm proud that this has come to fruition. It's a big deal because what we've seen is groups pushing for one policy initiative or another, but bringing it together in a comprehensive way and making it now official city policy is a big deal because it means you don't have to beg, borrow, and steal to make sure that ETOD is a part of what we're doing. Every project, every initiative, we're thinking about that and putting those thoughts forward as we think about how we expand opportunities in neighborhoods. So this is a very big and important step for us.
So there's a lot of different initiatives taking place, right? There's Invest Southwest, there's the ETOD. How do you see all of these things connecting together, a fabric that's connected together?
Well, I think they are interconnected for sure. When you think about what do we need to build wealth among people that have been disinvested in or locked out for so long, what do we do to make sure that we're reinvigorating neighborhoods and providing investment and capital, but also doing it in a way that makes those neighborhoods remain affordable. It's all interconnected. You've got to have intentionality about what you're doing. You know, I live in Logan Square, and for years and years and years, I watch my neighborhood transform. Sometimes for the better, but more recently what I've come to know is that there's been a massive wave of displacement of longtime residents, whether they are homeowners or whether they're renters, because we let market forces at work without any kind of intentional regulation to make sure that, to coin a phrase, development didn't lead to displacement. The only way we make sure that longtime residents get to reap the fruits of neighborhoods and transformation is to be intentional and create affordability opportunities, listening to the people that are on the ground. That's why this step forward in really systematizing and embracing ETOD at the Plan Commission level is so significant.
Yeah, so that's a great first step. So now here's the hard question. There are groups that are focused on transit-oriented development, transit, and that kind of thing. is your administration prepared for the community to hold you guys accountable?
Well, we are absolutely not only prepared to have these groups hold us accountable. We've been working hand in glove with many of these leading organizations, Elevated being one of them, to make sure that we're not just coming up with a policy in City Hall and saying, here it is, the cake is baked. I don't think that's how policy should ever be done.
Yeah.
I think you've got to respect and recognize that many people are out there and have been doing this work for decades, if not longer, and then join the conversation, be a part of an existing table that's been set. What we can do sitting from the mayor's office and city government is we can elevate the platform, no pun intended. We can use the bully pulpit of the mayor's office to really advocate for these things, and then also provide resources. One of the things I know about development is a lot of community organizations across the city have had these fantastic plans, quality of life plans, development plans, this or that, but what have they lacked? They've lacked a partner in City Hall. They've lacked resources to really bring these great plans into reality. And so what I have tried to be about and will continue to be about is working with those groups, not to reinvent the wheel, not to start with a blank piece of paper where work has already been done, but coming in with, as I said, a humble heart. Because when you come into community, you're going to get humbled. Yes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can have the best of intentions, but people are skeptical.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, we get that. But you got a kind of a humble heart, and you got to have a listening ear. Mm-hmm. And if we approach our business in neighborhood after neighborhood with those two things in mind, and think about what can we do to really help support the work that's already happened, how can we add additional perspective, additional resources, then we're going to get things done.
Yeah. So you have a couple of ETOD projects, pretty exciting. You know, any that come to mind to you across the city right now that you can think of that are some of the ones that you're really excited about?
Well, listen, I'm watching with great interest the one that's right in my backyard in Logan Square, right? There's a fantastic ETOD, 100% affordable project that's been going up right near the Blue Line stop there. And then other work is going to happen in that area to really, I think, untangle some of the traffic issues. But that is a great example. A lot of work, a lot of planning from the ground up. And what the city did is to make space for that work to happen.
Yeah, love it. There's also one on the Green Line, 43rd,
yes.
43rd Green.
Yes.
And out on 95th Street, they have some big plans that they're working on, kind of thinking about all of that. And so for me at least, for one of the things that Elevated has done, for me, it really has connected me personally with other parts of the city, getting an opportunity to kind of see how our challenges are similar, even though the color of our skin may be different, right? The unique situations may be a little bit different, but we're all kind of dealing with it. So by coming together as a table is what we call it, and kind of thinking things through, we're able to learn from each other. So this is one of the real benefits.
Well, look, there's incredible talent and innovation and energy happening all over the city. And one of the things that I like about Elevated, and there are other groups, is they're not just focused on a tiny geography. They're looking for opportunities to bring people together, to borrow from this group or that neighborhood. How does it work here? So they're incredibly good at collaboration. And really, as you said, setting a table that is wide enough for people who may not think that they have something in common to sit and listen and realize, you know what? We actually do.
Yes.
And that's what I think the power of our neighborhoods should be about. There are things that are happening all over the city where there are these points of connection, but we don't know it if we're not talking, if we're not sitting down at the same table. And again, I think that's a place where we as the mayor, me as the mayor, but also the mayor's office team can really, because we are seeing more of the 360 connections, we can be a convener to break down those silos and say, hey, Ghian, do you know so-and-so? Hey, so-and-so, have you met this person? Oh, no, I didn't know that. We bring it together, and then that table's set, and then watch the magic happen.
That's right.
That's what we should be about.
That's wonderful. What should Chicagoans know about how EOT is supporting the city's COVID recovery plan? You came out with an incredible, one of the first in the nation, I believe.
Yep.
How's ETOD impacting that?
Well, it's core to what our recovery is. What we've consistently said, because it's what I really believe, we can't recover and only have a certain part of our city, a certain sector be the ones that are recovering. We've got to have a holistic approach to this, and equity and inclusion. I'm going to say it again, equity and inclusion have to be the strategy, not part of the strategy, the strategy. Why is that important? What do we know about what has happened over this last 15 months? Long-standing challenges in healthcare, in access to healthcare, in jobs, the economy, all of those fault lines that we knew existed before, they were elevated in an incredible way that we can't ignore.
Right.
Now, we haven't solved every problem in the last 15 months, nor will we solve them in the next 15 months. But what we haven't done is looked away and said, that's a problem for another day.
Yeah.
What we know is people of color, low income, working class people have been hit the hardest because they were suffering before COVID. COVID exacerbated those challenges. So if we're thinking about a robust recovery, we've got to think about it in ways of bringing everybody into it. So if you own a little coffee shop down in back of the yards, and I'm thinking of a place in particular, we want to make sure that the recovery includes you. Mm-hmm. If you own a business on 75th Street and you've been hard hit, we want to make sure it includes you. Same thing on the north side. Mm-hmm. Talk to a family in Lakeview, family-owned business, coffee shop. They've really been struggling. We want to make sure that the recovery includes them. So the word of the day is, I'm channeling my old Sesame Street watching, right? The word of the day is intentionality around equity and inclusion. We've got to be intentional. We've got to be focused on equity and inclusion, looking across our geography at those people who've been most hard hit, who've been left behind, and making sure that there is a pathway for them to also recover.
One of the ways that we kind of talk about it when we have our conversations is you talk about one Chicago, right? Talk about us being one Chicago, not it's the south side or it's the north side, but as you think about some of these challenges, you think about how it impacts the entire city.
Yeah, we've got to get back to recognizing that we're neighbors.
Yeah.
It's you can't think there but for the grace of God to go I. You have to think my neighbor is hurting. Right. My neighbor is in need. And we saw that really manifest throughout the pandemic, and I'm going to focus in particular around food. People volunteering for pantries, donating, being there, giving money, bringing foodstuffs. They didn't know who that food was going to.
That's right.
They just knew that some resident of Chicago was in need, and so they stepped up to help. We have to have that same sensibility around one Chicago. Our neighbors need us now more than ever, and we've all got to be in it to step up and help someone that we may never know. They may never know us, but our neighbor is in need, and we got to step up.
I love that. Early, when you first won the election, you know, I ride the bus or I ride my bike, you know that around. But what's been your experience with public transportation? What's your favorite mode of transportation? Is it bike? Is it bus? Is it train? How do you move around? Obviously now you ride in a black car right now, but before that?
I like the train.
The train?
Yeah, I really like the train.
Okay.
You know, you get there, you see the hustle, and you feel the vibrancy of the city when people are going down into the trains, standing on the platform, people going north, people going south, and you just see this kind of, it's an equalizer because the people that ride the trains are diverse. Yeah. They're coming and going, they come from different backgrounds, different experiences, but when you're on the train, everybody comes together. That's right. I liked the train when I used to ride it because, you know, again, I'm old. I put my Walkman on. Now I put my headphones on, try to get my music going. But I got myself in a certain mindset before I took on whatever the work challenges were of the day. But I like riding the train.
I got to tell you, I rode the train from O'Hare the other day, and the traffic is back, right? So it was a quick and efficient way for me to get downtown. Well, thank you very much, Mayor. On behalf of Elevated and Spark, we really appreciate the time. Glad that people get a chance to kind of see you, you know, not necessarily in front of the podium, kind of just the regular conversations that we have. And we want to be partners with you in terms of making sure that this infrastructure that we have, this very important infrastructure, that we utilize it to better all of Chicago.
Yeah, and you know, first of all, thank you for inviting me into the conversation. I love the opportunity to kind of think about policy and think about how the government can really be a catalyst for helping the work that's already being done out there in neighborhoods. So really appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.